Hi, welcome to ToddFun.com. Today I'm doing some piano hacking. We've got this practice keyboard to essentially practice with headsets on, because even though we have an acoustic piano, many times someone's doing homework, watching TV, visiting, and the acoustic piano is just too loud for everybody. So we got this keyboard so that my son and I can practice our piano lessons in quiet. Unfortunately, we have to hack this brand new $700 piano because in order to plug the headset in, you have to take and plug it in the back. So you got to reach back in here all the way to the bottom and get that jacked in. So, and this is always up against my son's bed dresser shelf combo thing here, and so you either have to have this plugged in all the time, or if you want to actually play it for someone else, well then you got to fight with this jack. And so the hack is to bring that jack out to the front here. Now it's already done, but I'm going to show the video on how I moved that jack out to the front, because that jack does two things. When you plug in your phono jack in the back, it cuts off these main speakers, and that's just how those mechanisms work. So that entire mechanism has to move up front here, and so it is up front, and it does work, and we'll demonstrate that at the end. So that's hack one, and hack two is going to be, and I'm not going to show any of it other than I'm just going to show it to you. And we've had this issue where it's hard to see the notes. It's more than arm length away from me, and you sit about this far from the piano when you're playing, and the teacher writes little notes down, and that combined with small notes, and it's too far away mounted on the back here. It's really nicer to have the sheet music about this far away when you're practicing piano, just barely behind the keys, essentially, like an acoustic piano. That extra foot plus, is just too far to read those notes. So we want to move this forward. So that I'm just going to show you. Because we were fighting with, having some sort of a stand or having some sort of a, it just seemed complicated. So I'll show you my solution, and maybe it's easy to build, and you can probably do the same. We started by modding the back of this piece of plastic. I put pop riveted a piece of metal on here, and there's a piece of strap steel here, and I did weld it. I know not everyone has welders, but there's a little weld mark right there, so I welded it there. And then this is just a piece of tubing which I cut at a 30-degree angle, and then I welded this piece of tubing, it's hollow, to this at 30 degrees. So that gives you that 30-degree upright that you need, and plus it can spin almost like a bearing on that, and it doesn't have to have a lot of spin. It's not load bearing or anything. And then the other thing is I took a couple of C-clamps and clamped it to this shelf of my son's dresser bed combo here, and then welded another piece of tubing in there. I'll show that in a second. And then I bent a piece of, it's just a piece of like dowel steel. I heated it and bent it, and so there'd be a certain length to it. And then one side, of course, just drops inside the back of here, and that can spin in that axis. And then, of course, this drops in the other piece of tubing, which is welded to the C-clamps, and that goes down there. And then you can either go that way. You can still convert this back to the original way. You're not permanently altering this. And with this, I brought it just a little bit farther. Of course, it just depends on where you put those bends. And it's really a comfortable position here. You can see all the handwritten notes. If you need to get to your controls, that just swings out of the way and you get to your controls. And it just really works great. It turned out to be a great solution. Now, even though I clamped this to a table or a shelf, you could weld that onto an upright rod or something that has, legs and stuff. So let's show that C-clamp real quick. So this is just two small C-clamps. They're like $1 a piece, and a piece of tubing welded in the middle, about 3 little tack welds there, and that holds that down, and then that can spin. So I just wanted to share that because it really works out well. Even if this was on a rod, or something else that went down to a base, that would still be really easy to permanently mount to something, or a wall. You could, rather than C-clamps, you could weld it to something and then bolt it to a wall. So, okay, let's get on to hacking this guy, which is moving that audio jack to the front. For the keyboard fans, we'll just take a look at it. It's pretty standard keyboard. It's a DGX-640 Yamaha. It's nice enough. It does real good. It mimics an acoustic piano just about right. So let's lay it down on those pillows and start opening it up. Okay, I got all the perimeter screws off. So we'll see if we can just let you watch from the side. I'm going to start peeling off that plastic rim, I guess. Good, no glue. I'm happy about that. Well, I had to take all the deck screws out of this thing, and this is a big slab of MDF, and that's where a lot of the weight is coming from. So, if we can just lift it up now. Okay, I see one wire under there. If I can just kind of move my hand there. Okay, so a lot of the weight is this MDF board. It is super heavy. It looks like we have I don't know if we can come in here, but it's just a wire coming up to these two speakers here. They got a little piece here holding it on. So we'll unplug that. And that's the only thing on these two speakers, I think. Yeah, this has got to be at least 25 pounds of MDF right here with a couple speakers and some plastic. It's got some pretty good metal parts in here too, so it's probably a little bit of weight left, but yeah, this is significantly lighter, but there's still a lot of weight here. This is metal. All of these keys have metal rods on them, and it's really open in here. We want to get to this guy right here. So I would like to get that off of the board and somehow just drop some wires off of it so it can still do its job with cutting the speakers out, and then bring that wire back over the top here to the front, come out that back hole, wrap a cord around, come across the outside underneath on top of that MDF, and then just hot glue that connector in. That might be simplest, and I avoid getting involved with any of these. Okay. Well, trying to throw up, I'm going to go handheld here because this thing is so big. It's interesting that these weights, these bars that are on every key, see they come up. There's basically felt behind here, and then there's felt in front. And because it's upside down, they fall this way. But normally they fall this way. And that's what gives, and when you push, you're pushing that weight bar up, and it hits that other piece of felt, and that's the weightedness that you feel on all these. And some of them are a little longer and curled back deeper, probably for different keys, of course. But some of them are, like these, are curled a lot more. I wonder if it's probably just because, well, not all of them are that way. But, oh well, I don't design them. So this is what I want to move to the front. This is the headphone jack. This is the 5 volts that come in here off of a transformer. So there's a fuse. And this is the clunking on-off switch, but it's not, it's just your sense switch here. It's actually got power from the transformer all the time. Let's see. Over here we have like a little tweeter speaker or something, and then down over here we have, like, it's a whammy bar, basically, for a piano. Very easy to get into this thing. Essentially these are going to be probably the amplifiers here. I can't get down in there real good. I'll be taking this board off, so we'll look at that again later. This board I won't be taking off. Let's see if we can get you. I'm not going to try and read it. I'll just get a good zoom on it. You can look it up if you want to know. That's the
going to be the main processor on this board. There's other types of buttons and stuff underneath. Like this is just a button board over here. This is that sort of a wheel that you spin to select instruments. This is contrast, and this is USB. So this is like a shielded, one of these is, well, I don't know if they're both shielded actually. This is sort of shielded ribbon cable. One of them's going to be USB and one's going to be probably, they might both be USB, I don't know. So, and then this is for the pedals. This instrument actually has 3 pedals, and that plugs in there. So that's probably this one here. And this is for the single pedal. This is for the triple pedal. We have the triple pedal, but that's the difference there. Single pedal, sustain, and this has got the 3 different options like on a regular piano. Let's see, I'll just get in close on the circuit. Hopefully there's enough light, and you can scan and look up and evaluate later, because I'm mostly just going to try and hack this thing. I'll go ahead and take this board out now and see if I can move that. I haven't seen connectors like that in a while. They're ribbon cables that are essentially stripped at the end, and then when you jack them down in there, then you got to push this down to kind of make it tighten up. So you got to pull all these collars up and pull these out, and then they're all marked with a pink side for pin 1, and there's silk screening to show the pin. So if you get them right, if there's ever any with the same number nearby, you better mark them. So all these are off. I took off the screws in back, so this should, unless I missed a screw, lift out of there. There we go. There. Now we just need to move this guy to the front of the machine so we can practice in peace and quiet at night. Seems like a single-sided board. So this is the main power board for the Yamaha. And like I said, that power comes in here, fuses here, my audio jack. Let's see. That's going to be a variable voltage regulator, and I believe that is going to be your 5-volt regulator. On the other side there's another, I'm going to assume this is just the audio amplifier. That's what I'm going to assume, but I didn't look it up or nothing. Pretty sparse board other than that. There's a few little inductors here that actually go across to when you jack in your headset. There's an inductor for each left and right channel. This is the left and right speaker for this jack, and these are the tweeters that plug in that I showed you earlier. I'm calling them tweeters, but they're just the little tiny speakers. I'm not much of an audio guy to tell you that. Interesting enough, I find this spot interesting right here. This is on the negative side of that large capacitor, and they do a star grounding mechanism there. That's interesting. This is what we're trying to get to here. This is my jack. This is ground, and this is where the left and right channels come in, and they bridge across to left and right channel out to the external speaker, or the speakers that are on the keyboard. And there's inside here there's pins that connect these two, and connect these two. And when you stick in your headset, then that disconnects. It basically breaks this connection between these two and breaks the connection between these two, and then jacks into these two for the left and right channel going to your headset or whatever external system you happen to be using. So we'll just come out a little bit. I've got a little jack here. First off, you can hear I do some continuity testing with nothing jacked in. We're gonna see that's connected, and then we're gonna see this is connected, but we won't see any connection here or here. You don't see any other connections, of course. This is just ground, so that's no big deal. But now when you jack in something, that's when the speakers disconnect. So now you won't have connection here and you won't have connection here. But what you will have is you'll have ground. I'll hook up to this is a mono jack right here, but I've got spliced coming out, and I'll just hold my ground on there so we'll hear that we get ground. And then this is just a mono, so I'll hold on to the conductor, the center conductor here, and now you'll see we have, but this mono, so it's going to do both, but normally you'd have a left channel and a right channel. And then this is we're going to unsolder this and move it to the front. Okay, just an iron set real hot, and I just used my quick to get out my little mechanical plunger and pop off the solder. And I did that already. And there's a little elastic or glue that holds it down, and I cut that with my X-Acto knife from underneath. Now we just got to move this someplace more convenient. So I got to have 7 wires that go out to this little outside connector. I've got some speaker wire that's going to go across these 4 center ones because they're actually going to be making and breaking the large speakers on the piano. And then I'm going to use some smaller gauge, some 22 gauge wires for for these 2 back ones because they're for the headset anyway. They don't need to be that large. And then I'm going to use a beefy ground wire to come off the front here. I've marked everything and made my little map so I know I've double checked everything so I won't cross any channels. And that's going to go on in a little box, a little piece of perf board in a box, and we'll screw it to the bottom of that MDF. So we've got everything soldered up. We've got that bunch of wires as I explained earlier. We'll put some more strain relief on this and some shrink wrap to keep it together in spots. There, I got some shrink wrap started, and this is basically a wire tie, so it's strain relief. It can't pull out of the back of the unit. And then I'll put some more shrink wrap every so far, but I can do that after this is all put back together again. The board is back in. I've hooked up all these wires. They go on real easy. This is my little hack here. They're bundled out, and like I say, that's a strain relief that can't get pulled out now because of that wire tie. Okay, the MDF backing is back on, and now it's just a matter of making some ground with this wire and put a little box. So simple plan for the box to plug into. I got a project box I had kicking around. It comes with the screws and everything to put together. And I'm just going to drill a hole so this goes in here and sticks out. And kindly enough, the original design had threads on it, so I just got to get a nut that fits that. And so when I put in the hole and tighten down, it'll be nice and solid. The wires will come in the back here, and I'll just wire onto all these different spots, and then drill some holes to bolt this to the bottom of the piano. Not much to look at, but there's the solder job. So the install is basically done. Got a little Christmas color going with my shrink wrap, but it's almost Christmas, so why not? I used one of the deck screws here to hold this box, and just a wood screw here that went all the ways into this MDF. Then I put it over, as you see, I put it far all the way to the inside because I did a test and this did get in the way of the knees a little bit. So this will be off to one side all the way so it won't get in the way of the knees. And then I put it back a little bit here. I took it back from the edge about an inch. Made it easier to mount, and then it's less likely to hit this once the headset is jacked in right here, because it'll be underneath here just a little bit, but still very accessible. So I thought you want to see it all buttoned up. I got the cover on, got one of those locking collars on there to hold it so that I was going to use a screw, but this holds it really tight and shallow, keeps it out of the way. And then I put a couple of these little stick down wire tabs that hold wires. So the keyboard is done. We have the ability to jack in right here. It's not going to get in the way of our legs or anything, and we can hang the headset right here. When we unjack right here, we can listen to the music through the main speakers. This is going to be a smoke test. I have not tested it yet, and yes, this is a very expensive keyboard, at least to me. And in case you want to know, I've only had it for 4 days. Yes, I've hacked my keyboard in less than 4 days. But it had to be done because we couldn't use it. We couldn't keep digging back here because it plugged in way back behind here. And then the cord was either over top of the keys or you had to crawl underneath and hook it in. You couldn't switch. So this way we'll be able to switch. So first let's power it up and make sure it works per normal. Ready, Alex?
Yeah. And just to tell you,
Yeah.
it's my keyboard.
Oh, that's right, it's Alex's keyboard. Well, that sounds good. Okay, so that's good. Now let me see the headset. And if the plan works,
You'll not be able to hear anything.
no one will be able to hear a thing. Here we go. Testing. I hear it. Sounds real good too. Kind of hard to play left-handed.
Why do it?
You hear nothing? No, you guys hear nothing. There, that worked. Real quick jack in and out. And you don't have to climb behind your keyboard anymore. And well, that's it. If you liked the video, thumbs up. If you like this type of stuff, subscribe.
Yeah.
And there'll be more. Thanks for joining.
Can we put on a early song for the ending?
No, we get in trouble for that. We can't play other people's music on YouTube. But thanks.